Welcome to the Lauren Blackwell channel. I'm not sure who's releasing information about these documentaries that Netflix and Peacock are planning to do about Wendy Williams, but I know that a lot of the information is coming from The Sun. I'm just not sure who is giving the information to The Sun, and I'm not sure about the accuracy of this information because Peacock and Netflix have not made definitive statements about this. So I don't know. But anyway, there seems to be this scramble between networks to release documentaries about Wendy Williams, and I don't know why. This is going to be the third documentary made. Well, if Netflix does a documentary on Wendy Williams, theirs will be the third one, because in 2024 Lifetime did a documentary on Wendy Williams. A lot of people did not like it. Wendy Williams's family was a part of that documentary. A lot of her family members were part of it. Wendy herself said she was a part of it. She was a part of it, but there's always the question of how did she agree to be a part of it? Like, did she really know how she was going to be portrayed? How much of a part of it was she? The documentary that Lifetime made in 2024 was titled "Where is Wendy Williams?" And in that documentary, it showed her life. It showed a lot about her ongoing health issues at the time, a lot of the challenges that she was facing regarding not just her health, but her guardianship, a lot of the issues she's having with the courts, with her money, and just overall, it was more about her health and her well-being than anything else, right? It did not sit right with a lot of people, but you know what? That documentary was made, and Wendy Williams and her family were a part of it. But now Netflix and Peacock are trying to do their own documentaries, separate documentaries, and this is just so strange. According to reports, Wendy Williams is not going to be a part of either one. Netflix and Peacock are not working together on this. They're planning to make two separate documentaries, like their own documentaries on Wendy Williams. We're hearing more about Peacock's version than we are on Netflix's. So I'm not even sure if Netflix is going to go ahead with their documentary. But as far as Peacock's documentary, it's going to be titled "Clap If You Care," and it will be focusing on Wendy Williams's her work in entertainment, as a talk show host, as a media icon, her career overall, and some of it will focus on the challenges that she has faced in recent years. And we all know what that is. It's her health and it's the guardianship. I doubt that they will make a documentary and not touch on those. It'll be nice if someone did, if someone just made a documentary about a lot of the work that Wendy Williams did, her rise to becoming who she is, the big talk show host that she is, her work and her career over the years, but I don't know. I feel like if they do a documentary and include her health issues and her current issues, it might overshadow anything else that they talk about. So if they want to do a documentary honoring Wendy Williams, they're just going to have to exclude a lot of her health issues and these guardianship stuff, because that tends to take over the conversation a lot, So anyway, as far as we know, Suzanne Bass, her Wendy Williams talk show producer, will be connected to this. I think she will be producing the Peacock version, and a lot of people are feeling like it is a betrayal to Wendy because, we heard that Wendy Williams is not going to be part of the Peacock documentary, but here is Suzanne Bass, who's going to be part of the documentary. And it does not look like they are keeping in touch. At least that's the word on the streets. Although, based on what I have seen, okay, it seems like they get in touch occasionally. I remember during Wendy's birthday, I think they got together. I forgot what year that was. I don't know, if it maybe a couple of years ago. They got together, they hung out. Suzanne Bass and Wendy Williams and Suzanne's husband. They went to a restaurant and, they hung out. So, I don't know. Perhaps they're not super duper close, but I feel as though they have a positive enough relationship to where things will not be as bad as people think that it would be. So basically, a lot of people are thinking that because Suzanne is not very close friends with Wendy, it is disrespectful of her to agree to be a part of this documentary that Peacock is trying to produce about Wendy Williams, especially since Wendy Williams herself is not going to be a part of it. But and so they think that if Suzanne knew Wendy Williams intimately, which she did, Wendy Williams was quite close to Suzanne's family, her kids, Suzanne was close to Wendy's family and her parents as well. So they had a long relationship with Suzanne as the producer of the Wendy show. And so Suzanne is going to have a lot of information, a lot of inside information. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes of the show that did not make it to the papers that Suzanne is going to be aware of, because she was around Wendy a lot for many years, including Suzanne is going to have a lot of information about certain stuff that may have happened between Wendy and her husband that we never heard of. And so that's why a lot of people think that it is disrespectful for Suzanne to agree to do this documentary that Wendy is not going to be a part of. At least that's one side of the conversation. Another way to look at this is Suzanne has been on Wendy's side ever since Wendy started to experience her difficulties, right? And she has not really done anything that will let anyone think that she would turn against Wendy and paint her in a negative light with this documentary. If anything, Suzanne might be the best person to produce this documentary about Wendy, because she seems sympathetic to what Wendy is going through. She was advocating for Wendy at some point, She speaks highly of Wendy. She has never done or said anything that is disparaging towards Wendy, at least nothing that I've seen or heard from her. And I just don't get the vibes that she's the sort of person to just downright be dirty and betray Wendy. That's just not the vibes I get from her. I don't know the lady, but I just don't get that from her. So for someone who's as sympathetic towards Wendy as Suzanne is, I think that she might actually be the best person to be in charge of this documentary, because she'll be able to guide it in a way where it's not just negative, towards Wendy Williams. If that is her reason for getting involved in this, that would be a good thing, okay? But I'm not sure what good that will do, because Suzanne is only involved with the Peacock documentary. she, as far as we know, will not be involved with the Netflix documentary about Wendy. If Netflix decide to go forward with their version, that would be so weird. That would be so weird though, because first we have Lifetime, and then we will have Peacock in 2027. And when will Netflix put theirs out? I have a feeling, because you know how Netflix likes to churn out documentaries. I have a feeling since Peacock is going to release theirs in 2027, Netflix might just release theirs sooner than that, you know? But I don't know. But anyway, with the Netflix version, Suzanne will probably not be part of it. We've not heard her say that she's going to be part of the Netflix version. I doubt that Netflix will involve her, especially since she's already associated with the Peacock version. So whatever like work she's trying to do for Wendy by being a part of the project so that Wendy is portrayed fairly, that might be lost if she's not part of the Netflix version, because how do we know what the Netflix version is going to reveal? How do we know that it's not going to be the opposite? Perhaps it will not be as sympathetic as the Peacock version. And if Suzanne is not going to be a part of it, then she can't really help, you know? But this is just an assumption. This is not to say that the Netflix one is going to be the worst one. I'm just saying that, you know, Suzanne's work at Peacock is going to be lost if Netflix decides to put out their own and not include her at all. Personally, I think that even if Netflix does not want Suzanne producing their version of the documentary, they should still include her, like ask her some questions, because who knows Wendy better than Suzanne, that has worked so closely with her and her husband? I mean, besides her husband and like her family members, who can really say that they truly know Wendy for that many years, and like especially when it comes to her career and certain career decisions that they had to make? Yeah, I don't think a lot of people can say that they know Wendy as much as Suzanne does. So I think that it'll be very beneficial for them if they included Suzanne. And I don't know, I have a feeling that she's like a fair person and will not just do Wendy dirty, you know. But then again, it's entertainment and you can't put anything past anybody, honestly, because if she's going to try to be professional and really do her job, which is something she's really good at and she's been doing it for a long time, then she's gonna have to keep her emotions out of it as much as possible and give an honest portrayal. And let's be honest, Wendy has had some not so bright moments in her career, so that might still make it into the documentary if Suzanne decides that, you know, she's gonna keep her personal feelings and emotions out of it. So another thing about this documentary, which is one of the reasons why I decided to make this video, is a lot of people think that Wendy should be left alone and all of these networks need to stop making documentaries about her that she's not even a part of and doesn't have a say in, because not only is it disrespectful, but it's inconsiderate of the states that she currently is in. She's dealing with a lot right now, and the last thing that she needs is a whole bunch of documentaries and just things about her coming out, things about her personal life. I'm sure stuff about her husband, her marriage, her husband's girlfriend. I'm sure one of these documentaries is gonna touch on one of those, and you know, it's just not something that she needs right now, right? That's what a lot of people are saying, and I do agree. Okay, I can't imagine what it's like to just be living your life. You have everyday problems that you're trying to deal with, and then you find out that there are people over there combing through your life and just going around asking questions about you, having interviews, and then actually making a whole documentary about you. That is so wild to me. And then Wendy is not going to be a part of it. Like, she's not going to be on the cutting room floor or anything. So she, even if they ask her questions, she has no say. Unless you're the one editing the documentary, honestly, you really have no say. And so it's wild to me. And I understand why people think that these documentaries should not be created at all. However, like, at the end of the day, Wendy Williams dedicated a large part of her career to talking about people. She dug through their lives. She talked about aspects of them that they would rather not have spread out to her tens of millions of followers. But she did it, and she did it very consistently. She revealed things that a lot of people reached out to her. I know for a fact that a lot of celebrities have reached out to her. Even she has said this and asked her to stop saying all those things about them, because a lot of the things that she was saying was negative. Whether or not the things she was saying was true or not, like, if it's negative, sometimes people just don't want those things out there. But she dismissed them. She would sometimes portray people in very negative light. She would put her own opinion on them and change the way other people view these celebrities. A lot of the times it's negative. Wendy Williams used to be very messy. So it's not as if she was just this talk show host that had like a cooking show or something, like she did gossip. Wendy Williams was very good at doing gossip, and she talked about everyone, and she talked about them a lot. So for somebody like that to suddenly not expect other people to also put her life under a microscope, that's just not gonna happen. And if you look at it that way, in a sense, it's not surprising that all of these networks are trying to do documentaries about her, because she talked about everybody else, so they're gonna have a lot to say. Wendy was on air on the radio even before she made it to TV, and then she was on TV for many years, so she talked about a lot of people, and now people are getting ready to talk about her. That's just what happens in entertainment. They are brutal. Wendy Williams was very brutal and sometimes vicious to certain people. She gave her opinion without caring about how they would feel, and that was her job. That was part of her job. That's what made her work so interesting. It got her a lot of views, and it kept her successful for a very long time because she was very good at it. But you know what? Other people are also good at combing through other people's life, and now they're gonna comb through her life. Is it fair? No, it's not fair to any of the people involved, but this is the nature of the business. She knew this, as much as she doesn't want it, she's not gonna be shocked that people are going to be interested in watching her documentary or even making a documentary about her. She's not gonna be shocked. She's been in the business for a long time, and Wendy's not some weak person either. She's pretty strong, and she's very mentally strong. She has a lot of mental fortitude. You do not get to the level that she was and stay there by not being strong, so even though she's having difficulties now, I'm sure she understands that this is just the nature of the business. She spent her career talking about people. People are going to make a documentary about her, talking about her. It's not only going to be the things that she wants to have revealed. It's going to be a lot of things that she does not want to have revealed. It's unfortunate that it's happening now, but to say that nobody should make a documentary about Wendy because she's having health issues. I mean, the people that Wendy talked about, were they in perfect health? When she interviewed and made her show about Whitney Houston, Whitney Houston was going through a lot of health concerns, and then I forgot who it was, some celebrity that was going through very difficult marriage situation. I believe it was Layla Roshan, whose husband Anthony Fuqua was cheating on her with Nicole Murphy. I think it was in Italy. They were on vacation in the pool or something like that, and they were caught making out, and Wendy decided to put Nicole Murphy, like, to interview her, bring her to her show, rather than Layla Roshan to, just get the gist of the cheating and the scandal. I mean, this is entertainment to a lot of people, but stuff like this can be very painful. This causes real pain in people's marriages, and it's stuff like this that Wendy Williams did. She brought it to the forefront in a very entertaining way, and nobody's blaming her for that. But on the flip side, people are going to do their own version of their storytelling about her life. I don't think it's fair either, and I don't know if she should even watch it if it's released. Like, it's the sort of a thing she should probably avoid it, because she doesn't need the stress, especially if it's not like super positive about her. But it's just not something that can be avoided. She's a big celebrity, and she's a talk show host, very well known, successful for a long time. Somebody is going to make a documentary about her. That's just the way it goes. The most that I think people should, like, the people around her should help her perhaps avoid some of these documentaries if it's not super positive, because Wendy used to be in a lot of mess week after week. It was always something. But if it's positive, then sure, then it's not so bad. But is it going to be all positive? This is Wendy Williams we're talking about. So yeah, this is just my opinion, which is, this is just the way it goes. It's entertainment, and this is how the business is. It's brutal. It can be ruthless sometimes. I wish Wendy the best, and I hope that Suzanne does justice to the documentary, as in she keeps it, positive towards Wendy, which I think she will. So we'll see what the Netflix one is like. We still don't know what that one is going to be titled though, but we'll see if they go ahead with it. That's all I have on Wendy Williams and these series of documentaries that is going to be released about her. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.